Hey you guys, and I'm here to do a fragmented video. Yes, it's been a while since one of these. Some of you, Fragment Friday used to be a really big thing. Well, not big, but I saw like a lot more people doing it than they do now, which is zero. Basically, you just read like a fragment of a book thing. But I always called mine fragmented because I was like, do it. I wanted to do it when I wanted to. And apparently what I wanted to was never, because after 4, it's kind of gotten away from me. So anyway, I am just here to read the first chapter of Project Cain by Geoffrey Girard, just to give people a little taste to see whether or not they'll like it or not. So here we go. Jeffrey Dahmer. You might not know who this is. I didn't. I had to Google him. There was some stuff in my file too. Back in the 1980s, he murdered 17 people. It was a pretty big deal because of the way he did it. Look up the gory details yourself if you want. I'm not getting into any of that here. Most adults I've learned seem to know the name pretty well because Dahmer got famous in the news and became the go-to guy for the term of the hour. Serial killer. Male, white, higher IQ, underachiever, bad wiring, troubled childhood, started collecting dead animals as a kid, jumped next to adulthood, and the quiet loner next door who never caused a problem until the neighbors couldn't ignore the strange smells. Twisted murderers, pervert stuff. Uber body count, the ultimate cliche, perfect for an easy joke or a quick name drop on some lame cop show. In 1992, Jeffrey Dahmer was found guilty on 15 counts of murder and got sentenced to a separate life term for each and every one. Almost 1,000 years in prison. Hardcore. Most people can't even imagine one. Didn't matter anyway. 2 years in, another prisoner beat Dahmer to death with a broom handle. Dahmer's head and face beaten so badly that the guards at first couldn't figure out who'd been killed. The guy who did it claimed God had told him to. Could be. Other reports say Dahmer arranged the killing himself as some kind of suicide. Again, could be. That wouldn't surprise me. Most of this happened more than 20 years before I was born. Before they made me in that lab. Before they made us. It's still all very confusing. You'll understand more soon. This is a story about blood. The blood of family. And of science. And murder. Everyone's always so interested in telling the truth, the virtue of truth, getting to the bottom of it, being honest, etc. The whole world imposes this principle on you right from the start, and it's all such absolute bullshit, really. It's ironically a gigantic fat lie. If everyone told the truth, even half the time, we'd probably all jump off a bridge because we'd finally really know how terrible everyone else is. What we really thought about each other, all the disgusting things we'd really done that day, and so on. It's only the lies that keep everything going. I know, I was perfectly fine with the ones I've been told. I was told to believe my name was Jeff Jacobson and that I was born on April 18th, 16 years ago. I was told to believe my mother and I were in a bad car accident when I was just 5, and this is why A, I don't have a mother, B, I can't remember some things too well, and C, my speech is a little off sometimes. I was told and believed that the pretty dark-haired woman in the 3 photos throughout our house was my mother and that she loved me very much. I was told and believed that my father was, well, my father, and that he also loved me. Then that changed. All of it. In a single night. Less really. 15, maybe 20 minutes. The time it takes for a round of Call of Duty. It can happen that fast. The truth. My dad, the eminent geneticist, Dr. Gregory Jacobson, my fake father, the madman, killer, Dr. Ripper, whatever we're calling him now, whatever history will settle on, he comes into my room one night, and in that single one simple everyday move, all those magnificent, unspoiled lies went away, and I got my first real fistfuls of truth. Pow, wham, WTF. I was told I'd been constructed in a laboratory just 10 years ago. I was told I was a clone made from the DNA of some other guy. I was told the other guy was a famous serial killer. I was told this was all part of some top secret science project to help make weapons for the United States government, and that the government now probably wanted me dead. I was told that I never had a mother beyond some Ukrainian girl paid to carry my fetus in a room for only 4 months. Even the egg had been genetically manufactured in the lab. After that, I'd grown synthetically, brought to the physical slash physiological maturity of an 8-year-old child in a little more than a year, in some sort of ultra-modern take. I was told that there were other killers like me, other cloned, some made from other killers, and also a few made from the same guy I've been made from. Finally, I was told that I was, therefore, a killer at the very core of my being. And my dad was quite clear on this part. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that. This apparently was a kind of truth everyone is so damn excited about. After giving me this news, I hadn't even begun to process yet. My dad handed me a folder. He stopped talking, and the clear inference was I should now check out the papers inside. So I flipped through it while he watched me. I didn't get so far. There was nothing inside that didn't add to my total confusion. I saw the name Geoffrey Dahmer for the first time in my life. Inside the folder were pictures of a kid who I assumed was me. But he wasn't. He just looked like me. And these were pictures of the kids in places I've never been and with people I've never met, wearing clothes I've never worn. In some of the pictures, the kid was even older than me. There were also weird reports with confusing technical notes and charts. My hand flipped through the pages in mere seconds or hours. I don't know. The whole night is still kind of a blur, but I can tell you, I didn't understand what I was looking at. And at any time I looked up to question or protest, my dad seemed to be looking right past me. Not just like I wasn't in the room anymore, but worse, like he wasn't. I retreated back to the folder and eventually reached the pictures of, if I was to believe my father, dead people my genetic source had murdered. There are 5 faces on the first page alone, and a name beneath each one, my finger hovering just over the page, tracing along the photos. I slammed the folder closed and then down onto my bed. My father smiled, something I'd not seen him do in months, and then stood. He first told me a phone number, a new number, and said I could call later if I ever needed to talk. What does that mean? Then he handed me an open envelope stuffed with money and warned me to keep away from the DSTI, the company he worked for, and the police. He said they were all working with the U.S. government, and I knew what that meant now. But I had no clue what that meant now. In fact, still nothing he was saying made any sense at all. Didn't matter, because that was it, the end of our conversation. Not one word about where he was going or what I was supposed to do. He was just down the stairs and out the door and into the car beyond the drive lane, so on. Every preposition he could think of to vanish for good, to get away from me. If my dad even noticed me shouting in the driveway or chasing him down our street, I would never know. I never saw him alive again. Back into the house, I called his cell phone. Nothing. Tried 100 times. Called his office. Nothing. Nothing. Even tried that new number he just given me. Still, nothing. I checked out the money envelope he handed me. There were $20 $50 bills inside. $1,000. I tossed the envelope onto my bed. I picked up the folder and tried reading its contents again. Other than the pictures, it was just more graphs and dates and numbers and some biographical stuff about this Geoffrey Dahmer guy. Born 1960. Grew up in Ohio. Dad a chemist. Kicked out of Army in 1981. And so on. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't get much farther than I had the first time. Honestly, I stopped reading after it listed his first murder. 1978, by the way. Dahmer was only 18 years old. I mostly just sat in the house for hours and hours and basically stared at the walls. It became the world's longest, most sucky night of nothing. Until midnight. That was right around the time I decided to finally check out my father's secret room. That's where all the something was. Hint. If your father has a secret room, he's probably lying about all sorts of things. This room was on the second floor of my house in a space between the master bedroom and one of the guest bedrooms. From the outside, it looked just like any other wood-paneled wall. Just within, however, was a room the size of a big walk-in closet. The people who lived in the house before us had apparently built in one of those panic rooms, a place to hide when, like, looters or robbers attack. My dad used it as a second office of sorts. I seen him go in more than a dozen times over the 3 years we lived there, but I never stepped a foot inside myself. He told me it was important stuff for work and then lectured me about privacy and trust. That had been enough to keep me away. But mostly, I kept away because of the way he looked whenever he went into that room or came out. In his face had been something sad and lost, but also something strong, focused, something terrible. I just knew that whatever had come in and out of that room wasn't entirely my dad anymore, and that whatever was inside the room was not something I wanted any part of. Funny how that turned out, huh? Still, I had the key. I found a ring of spares one afternoon when my dad had been out, and I tried every one until the special panel unlocked. It had taken me like 20 minutes just to find the keyhole. It was so well hidden in the paneling that I kept running my fingers along the wall until I did. I did not, however, go in. I just locked it again and hid the spare key in my own room, just having the option to enter that room if I ever really wanted had been enough for me. Now I realize completely he always knew I'd taken that spare. He wanted me to have it. Just another one of his little experiments for me. Left it precisely where I'd find it. Wanted me to see all that he had been up to. So I guess he got exactly what he wanted. Because when I opened the door, the very first thing I saw was the dead guy. So that was the first chapter, Project Cain. Sorry for any mispronunciations because there was that pretty big one. Really probably should have reread this first and practice a little bit, but hey, I did this off the cuff. You guys tell me what you guys thought of the first chapter, and if you guys are going to go download the sample on your Kindle to see if I think maybe there's more than one chapter available in the sample, so you could read a little bit more, or if you have read this before and whether or not you liked it, or if you're now planning to go get it. That's pretty much how the book goes, that kind of writing style. So I will see you guys later because I'm going to go drink some water because I can feel my voice getting hoarse. And I will see ya. Bye.